Hi, everybody. It's Bud again with Bud's Hot Sports Takes. As promised, the next video would be, um, today, the 16th, and we would be going over basically where everybody stands, during the All Star break. So, like halfway through the season. Not really like everybody stands, but basically in major categories in both hitting um, and pitching, or at least categories I think are major. We'll be talking about the top five in those. And if you remember, whenever we did this around like a quarter of the way through, or if you've seen that one, um, you'll remember that I said there's usually a correlation between, as far as pitching goes, between WHIP and and wins and ERA, right? Typically, a person with a low WHIP you'll also end up seeing has a lower ERA. So we should end up seeing halfway through that still holds true. That you know, uh, the five highest on WHIP should also, whenever we're doing ERA, should end up we should end up seeing a correlation there. I'm going to be doing live ratings. People can go ahead and check these themselves, but if not, if you don't want to or whatever, um, you know, then cool. Listen here, right? Let's talk about this together. I have no problems. Go ahead and talking, right? Okay. So first we're gonna be on the hitting category, and I know everybody's favorite is the long ball. We'll actually probably hit that one last on hitting. Okay. Well, we're gonna start with something I think is very very major. We're gonna start with average. Okay. So leading Major League Baseball, currently halfway through the season, is Stephen Kwan with a 352 batting average, followed by Christian Yelich. Again, if I mispronounce anybody's name, I'm sorry. I'm just terrible at names. Um, with a 326. So a big difference, a big drop between the first and second there. A 352 down to a 326. That's like 0.026 drop. As you can see, that's going to be the most significant drop in the top five. So after Christian Yelich with a 326, you have Bobby Witt with a 323, Shohei Ohtani with a 316, and then in fifth and last, in the top five is Luis Arias. I don't know really how you pronounce his name. Sorry. With a 310. So the next thing we're going to be talking about, okay, is going to be stolen bases. So in stolen bases, leading the league is Ellie De La Cruz with 46. Okay, and he had been caught stealing 9 times out of those 46. Bryce Terrain, um, he has 30 stolen bases, been caught stealing 5 times. Now that 5 times caught stealing is significant when you think, if memory serves me correct, when we did this like halfway through. Um, while Ellie De La Cruz had like 25, I think, stolen bases, or 26, something like that. And then second was Bryce, who had 16. At 16, he was caught stealing 0 times. So now at 30, he's been caught stealing 5 times. So he's starting to get picked off more. Then at third is Jose Caballero. Um, with 24 stolen bases, been caught stealing 11 times, so almost a third of attempts he gets caught. Uh, then basically we're gonna stop at four because there is a three-way tie on fourth. So in fourth, you have David Hamilton, Shohei Ohtani, Lane Thomas, all with 23. Now, well, Lane Thomas has been caught stealing 9 times. I would I would say really fourth technically should go to a tie with David Hamilton and Shohei Ohtani, because They both have 23 stolen bases, but also both were only caught stealing 3 times. That's just my thought. Now let's talk about RBIs. Okay, leading Major League Baseball with RBIs is Aaron Judge at 85. Now that's phenomenal because I mean, think about it, 85 halfway through, right? That means like if he was able to somehow keep up that, it'd be like 170 RBIs. And that, wow, right? Then in second, it's a tie. Marcel Ozuna and Jose Ramirez both have 77. And then fourth is also a tie. So obviously that would be 5 people, right? Alec Bohm and Josh Naylor both with 70. So all in all, tight race between, you know, might as well say two through five, basically. People. Um, because 70-77 is not that far off. I guess if you consider that, then 85 is not that far off from 77, right? But there's they're pretty close. But obviously, 85 is pretty far off from 70. All right, now everybody's favorite, the long ball. All right, so leading is in home runs is Aaron Judge, who's also your RBI leader, right? And here's the thing, just a notable mention to Aaron Judge as well. While he didn't make our average list, he also is batting over 300. He's batting 306. So, guy's doing pretty well for himself. Shohei Ohtani, uh, who remember tied for fourth in stolen bases. Also has 29 home runs, and he's also batting over 300 as well with a 316. Gunnar Henderson, which pretty sure he's a rookie this year, so he's in third. So wow, all hats off to that guy. Um, and I'll have to double check, but I think he won the home run derby this year. So not bad for a rook, right? But anyway, he is in third with 28 home runs. Marcel Ozuna with 26. Also, remember, he's tied for second with 77 RBIs, and he as well is batting over 300 with a 303. Then in fifth, we have Anthony Santander with 24. Now let's go to pitching. Okay. I like to start with wins because obviously winning games for your club, very important, right? Means you're pitching well, but that's not all that really matters, really, is pitching well. Your team also has to hit for you. Evidence of this would be your Bob Gibson pitched like a 1.08 ERA and still somehow lost like 8 games. Right? So obviously your team still has to hit behind you, right? But anyway, leading the league with wins is Chris Sale. He has a record of 13-3. We have a three-way tie for second, and we're basically going to stick with second because then after that we have a five-way tie at fifth. Okay, so we're going to stick with the top four in this case. And they all have a record of same record of 11-4. Okay. Seth Lugo, Aaron Nola, and Grayson Rodriguez with 11 wins and only 4 losses. So, good job, there for those guys. Okay. Now let's talk about whip. Okay. Leading the league in whip, Logan Gilbert with a .87. Tarek Skubal with a .88. Tyler Glasnow in third with a .93. Garrett Crochet in fourth with a .95. And Chris Sell in fifth with a .95. Now, the fact that they have like basically both those guys with a .95, but they have one in fourth and one in fifth, and not a tie there. Typically, what that means is, uh, is that they're actually going a little deeper, but they're just not showing the numbers. Is they're going to, um, to the thousandth place, right? But they're just not showing you that third number, right? Okay. Just a little clarification on why I announced it the way I did. Now we're going to do ERA, and then we'll get to everyone's favorite on pitching, strikeouts. Okay, ERA, leading Major League Baseball in ERA is Ronaldo Lopez with a 1.88 ERA. Okay. And Tarek Skubal, and if you remember, we had set his name in WHIP, which was, second, and here he is, second in ERA. He has 2.41 ERA. And then he was one of the guys also tied in fifth in wins, by the way. I just didn't say his name, right? Because I told you 5 was high for fifth. Then in third in ERA, it's Corbin Burns. And his whip is a 1.04. Okay. Which really I like to see anything, in a pitcher, under a 1.1. Over that, you're just really allowing too many hits per inning. You're giving a chance for, because hits equal runs, right? Because you got guys on base, so hits per 9 is important. The more opportunities you're giving the other team to produce, is a reason why I think it's a valuable stat as well. Because the more opportunities a team has to produce against you, the better chance that your number is going to come and they're going to produce, right? Seth Lugo with a 2.48. Okay, and if you remember, he is one of those guys that was tied in second, right? With an 11 wins, 4 losses. And then his whip, it's under that 1.1. It's a 1.09. And in fifth is Tanner Hook with a 2.54. And by the way, his whip is a 1.03, just in case you were wondering. All right. Now, people's favorite strikeouts. Oh, no. Wait a sec. Saves. We're going to do saves before we do strikeouts. Okay. I don't want to leave out those closers. Okay, they're very important part in baseball, especially these days where basically if, it's more of a relief game anyway. Guys rarely pitch 7, 8. Basically, unless you're pitching like a shutout or something like that, you ain't pitching in the ninth either. Uh, a lot of times, even if you're pitching like even a no hitter, they're taking you out these days in the seventh or eighth inning. So I'd say closers are probably even more of a strategic thing because they're they're coming in and a lot more often just because you don't have your starting pitcher trying to pitch for anything really. So anyway, back to let's start these saves right. Yeah, leading baseball, St. Louis Cardinals, Ryan Helsley. Yeah, I did St. Louis. Because, again, if you guys remember, I'm from St. Louis. So obviously, yes, I'm a Cardinal fan. Uh, so saw that there. I'm going to plug he's a Cardinal, okay? And he's leading the league in saves. He has 32 saves, and he's only had 34 save opportunities. So that means he's only missed 2 save opportunities. So that's pretty good. Like I said, he leads with 32. Emmanuel Clace, he is in second with 29. Kyle Finnegan in third with 25. Craig Kimbrell, he is fourth with 23. And you got a two-way tie in fifth, so we'll go ahead and we'll throw both those guys in because it's just two. Rysel Iglesias and Robert Suarez, both with 22. Also, both those guys have had 24 save opportunities. Okay. Now, everybody's favorite strikeouts. And I say everybody is in like the populace, right? And it's not my favorite stat. It's because we're not going to see stats like we used to begin because guys aren't throwing deep into the games, right? So the chances of someone ever catching, uh, you know, the Express, Nolan Ryan's record, probably not going to happen just because if you're not pitching late, you're getting fewer opportunities for strikeouts, right? So anyway, you got Garrett Crochet with 150. And by the way, he has a 6-6 record with a 3.02 ERA. Now his WHIP is a .95. Dylan Cease with 149. He has 1 strikeout behind him. But he almost has a 4 ERA. And you're going to see, like, a lot of times with these strikeout guys, it's not always the case, but a lot of times their ERAs climb because typically most strikeout pitchers are fastball throwers. It's not always the case. Some will pitch accuracy, some will throw with uh, your trickier pitches. Your curves. Have some type of movement. Movement type pitchers. But a lot of times your strikeout guys are your hurlers, right? Your fastball. Tyler Glasnow has 143 strikeouts, and the reason why your fastballs tend to, well, they strike out a lot of people, but raise your ERA is typically you give up more home runs because if they do make contact, you already give them the velocity off the bat. Uh, Cole Reagans with a 141 strikeouts. And then in fifth, there's actually a two-way tie. So we'll say both guys. Chris Sale and Tarek Skubal both have 140. So all in all, we're talking about 10 difference between the two guys that are tied in fifth and the guy in first. So really, it's anyone's ball game as far as coming to the end of the year. The next half of this season on who is going to end up, being the leader in strikeouts. And if you remember, um, like when we did this halfway through, pretty much your leader in every single stat was the Cubs. Um, who was it? Let's see if I can find him. Oh, there it is. Shoto Imanaga, right? He was like at halfway through. He was like leading the league in WHIP. Uh, he was like number two in strikeouts, and he was leading the league by a long shot in ERA. Since then, because he was doing so well, we'll go ahead and we'll give him a little shout out, and we'll say where he is right now. He's 8-2. Okay. Um, I think he was like 7-1 then, right? Um, he's pitched in 17 games, right? He's just not getting wins or losses. Um, and then he is pitching a 2.97 ERA, which it was like under one. So it's definitely risen. He's getting hit now. And his whip was really, really low too. And now his whip is 1.11. It's over that 1.1 mark. And he is sitting at 98 strikeouts. So we'll give that guy a little shout out just because, where he was, uh, at the quarter mark. All right. So that is the guys in the top five, right? Uh, in major stats, both hitting and pitching. We went through that together. Again, like I said, you guys could have done this on your own. But if you chose to go ahead and, view this and see where everybody's at, then, thank you. Thanks for watching. Now I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys, like I do every time, okay? Feel free to like or dislike. Either way, I'm cool with it. Below, subscribe below, and comment below. We're still looking for our first comment, guys. Come on, let's get some chatter going. Like I tell you every video is, if you comment, I will respond. I will respond to comments. Also, being the first comment, you'll probably make the next video. Don't let that scare you. Okay? Don't let that talk you out of making a comment. As a matter of fact, if you don't want your comment in the next video, but you want to comment, you can comment at the end of your comment saying, don't put me in your video. Okay? Not a problem. I'll respect it. So again, thanks guys for tuning in. Tune in next time to Bud's Hot Sports Takes with me, Bud.